Well, with boats, if it's not one thing, it's another. So down here in the 90-degree Florida heat, and I'm supposed to put the boat back together and get everything back on board, and there's an issue. There's fuel and water in the bilge. These are the blue buckets now. The chain plates are done. The boat is mostly empty. I'm going to take advantage of Memorial Day weekend when nobody's working to try to move a lot of stuff back onto the boat. I'm getting new chart plotters, so everything is taken apart, and I don't have electricity. So, because they've asked me not to use electricity, which is understandable given this. Yeah, so that's what I'm upgrading to. It's hot in here. And I'm chasing this fuel water issue. Yeah. So I pulled 20 gallons out of the bilge, and it had, a little bit of fuel in it. It's not as bad as I thought. It's mostly water, but there is some fuel in it, so got to figure out what's going on there. I don't even want to talk about that right now. Yep, slowly but surely moving back on. I originally went there for chain plates only, but I ended up getting a new radar, new chart plotters, and a new radio. Waiting on that extra work allowed me some downtime to hang out with friends. On the way to Florida, I had the Starlink tied to the deck with a string, and I honestly wanted to give it back because it didn't seem to work well, especially when I needed it. So I decided to mount it as it's supposed to be mounted and see how it works. I'll let you know.
Pull out some of these. This is the only thing that you use the lube in, and you just put a tiny bit in there.
Okay.
And that's just for the pin.
Gotcha.
See that little pin in there? And then that way that can kind of move in and out. But you don't want to grease it. You just lube it and then let the lube sort of work its way in there.
Okay.
You only do the high performance
Oil
on there. That's the only place, and you grease everything else.
Gotcha.
Cool. That's it.
And here is your.
All right.
And here is the new mount.
This is Josh, the captain of the yard. Got me straight in every way. So
How you doing? Pleasure.
yes, this is a good
friend.
man. Yes.
Everybody thinks he's Eddie Murphy, but Eddie Murphy has a lot to learn from him.
And while we're doing the last minute finishes, I'm just polishing my fuel.
That's pretty cool. Where's
Yes,
the pump?
sir.
This is the pump?
That's the pump.
Cute.
A little $12 pump. In fact, they were two for $12 on eBay, I think.
And this is why you need
A
the
vacuum
pressure?
gauge. If it starts getting too high, that means this filter is clogged.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
That's a quick do-it-yourself project.
Yes, sir. Winches were serviced. I had a new radar, new chart plotters, and a new radio. Things were looking good. It was time to get gas for the generators and the dinghy. You always want to take off on a passage with the freshest food. Therefore, I like to get it just before departure. I headed to Costco to load up on enough food to feed 3 grown men for at least a week. Thank you very much, sir. Oh, man. This is my rental, due back tomorrow morning. And this is $323, I guess. It's 5 after midnight, and I just finished loading the last load of provisions, which is food and supplies. I'm about to get in there with all my food and supplies and my wagon and go off into the darkness over there. Here I am trying to load up all my food and my provisions. I'm minding my own business. And through the companionway, guess who flew in and got dealt with? That's right, he flew in and got dealt with immediately. So now I gotta get him out of here. To the sea he goes.
How's it going, Spot?
My man Andy, Sailing Soleil.
I'm here. Let's do this. 700 nautical miles, right? 100. Like,
Heading out to St. Lucie Inlet with two brave souls who've traveled all the way from California.
Just for you.
Just for you. That's right. You may recognize this guy Andy from Sailing Soleil. That's right. And Nick. There you go. Rendezvous with the Rainies. Check it out. We're on our way to the ocean. Just left Manatee Pocket in Port Salerno, Florida. Before rounding Hatteras, we had to get off of the ocean for a day or so to let an approaching low-pressure system move on through.
With a rap sheet and no money, when looking for a coffee, ran to an angry mob, they're screaming about me.
Avamar. This is the anchorage in Beaufort, North Carolina. That one, not the one in South Carolina. Feel free to drop a comment and say which is which. pulled in here to await an approaching low pressure system that's going to bring some weather. We'd rather wait it out here than trying to round Cape Hatteras at that time.
All right, man.
Peace.
See you in a couple days.
All right, with a mullet. Nick and Andy went into town to chill out and grab a bite to eat, but I stayed back to do some routine maintenance. So I just did an oil change, and also I checked the vacuum for the fuel system, and you can see right here where the vacuum started to increase, meaning that the filter was starting to clog. We came through some really rough stuff trying to get into that inlet, but I didn't want to wait out on the ocean for slack tide, so we came on in. But it was rough. We went from almost 7 knots to like 3 knots, and yeah, it was rough. So that turned up everything that I have in the tank. And just so you know, this is what a clean filter looks like. So I'm going to change this filter. This is all proactive. I have a clean filter right here in the secondary, but we're not even going to use it. We're going to go straight to a new filter because this is maintenance time. There's Nick with 2 bags of laundry. 3. Andy has us untied. We're out of here. Love it. Going to see Bill in April. Then we're going to do laundry. Knock, knock.
Permission to come aboard, even though I'm bored.
They're fantastic. Yavs Jalentis, the guy that founded the company, he had an Alberg.
I have an Alberg.
I have an Alberg too.
I have an Alberg 30. It's named Liberty Call.
Yeah, I had Sabrina, number 158.
Yeah. I have 4 something.
Number 4?
No, 400 something.
And made me a video of how to do it.
Wow.
Wow. That is cool.
So, the distributor takes the power in. The shunt's not really necessary in my situation. A lot of people have a BMS here, but these have a BMS built in.
Mm-hmm.
So I Ethernet them to the servo. So the BMS in here is running.
Come back to you and say, hey,
And you have 800 amp
absolutely
hours.
changed me.
you're
And
saying.
he came back
Yeah.
and said,
Okay.
And we
"Sorry,
run
thank you so much.
3
He
laptops.
believed in me. He had never written
an
a paper
extra
in his
screen.
life. Made it to 12th grade.
Outside. Muggy. But there's a good breeze out there. It feels great.
These guys getting back on the D.
On the D.
Oh
Get
man,
on the D.
we may have to rename that. As forecasted, the storms came our way.
My man.
Early the next morning, we said peace out to April and Bill, and we boogied back to the ocean.
360 video where the user can choose the view.
Andy!
Hey! Hey, Sput, I gotta tell your viewers, Sput's quite a captain. He's a trustworthy captain.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
He knows what's up. He's got it going on here. I'm validated. I've been validated. Cool thought where it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know? But
We are abeam Cape Hatteras. The sun just set on Cape Hatteras. And we're sailing. Do you know what this is? At this point, I put on socks, sweatpants, and a long sleeve shirt.
I'll tell you what that is. That's dead.
I got 2 more.
This is funny. Look,
Hey, we've gotten a few. This isn't in view.
we made it all the way from Florida without an insect bite. And as soon as we get to the Virginia line, we get flies. Biting flies.
In droves.
Right. Poor showing for Virginia for our West Coast friends. Come on now.
Don't they know I'm trying to edit a video? Come on. Leave me alone. Yeah, right. Get him.
She cleaned up quickly and nicely. For 8 days of 3 grown men.
Could be a lot worse.
Right?
Light winds. Light winds.
Nice, the wind died.
Safe travels, man.
All right. Sput, thank you, bro. That was a great trip. Appreciate it, man.
Andy, you the man. Thanks, bro.
You got it.
So after a week's long ocean passage from Florida to my marina here in Virginia, I arrived to find someone is squatting in my slip. So I guess this is a video on how to handle conflict because I think the gentleman is here. I had to come back the next day to deal with this. I didn't plan on coming all the way back to the marina the next day, but my boat is in a temporary spot that's not good and could possibly damage my solar panels and dinghy. So I have to move it as soon as possible. And let's see how this goes. Hello? Hello? When I talked to the gentleman, he was so pleasant that I actually felt a little bad for even feeling inconvenienced. He offered compensation, but I told him that a like and subscribe would be enough. Now I have a new friend on the docks and a new subscriber. So the mast is held up by these cables called shrouds. These shrouds go all the way down to the deck, and they mount to chain plates. The chain plates are right here. Just this. Right here. Those are the chain plates. So I got new chain plates. 3 on this side and 3 on the other side. 2 up front and 2 in the back. On the inside of this boat, you can't see the chain plates. Some boats you can, but believe me, they're up under there. And in order to access them, they had to remove all of this cabinetry, all of the wood. All of this had to come out on both sides. All of that. So it was a huge job.